Saints going all the way, Saints going all the way. Kumbaya, that's the Who That Nation. Game on the line, you can bet we take them. Go black and gold, black and gold. Don't stop, boy, we trying to win the Super Bowl. We rock and roll, rock and roll. Touchdown, go Saints, we gonna do it some more. We rock and roll. Touchdown, go Saints, now give me some more. Now, who that, who that, holla, who that, who that, holla, who that, who that, holla, who that, who that, who that, who that, who that nation. Black and gold, black and gold. Oh yeah, fast up. Black and gold, black and gold, black. Who that, who that? They ain't ready for us. They ain't ready for us. They ain't ready for the black and gold, black. Who that? They ain't ready, what up? They ain't ready, what up? They ain't ready for the black and gold, black and gold. Game time, baby, and I go for the Saints.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. The State of the Saints podcast powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 125% on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. All you have to do is go to BETUS, use the promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150, and you can also download the BETUS app today. Shouts out to everybody that's watching this right now. Shouts out to everybody in the chat, wherever you are, wherever you may be. Well, Who That Nation, it is game time. The New Orleans Saints go to Arrowhead in Kansas City to take on the 2-time Super Bowl champs, or back-to-back champs, I should say, the Kansas City Chiefs. In this game, I got to be honest with you, Who That Nation, this is a uphill battle for the New Orleans Saints. This is definitely going to be a tall task for the black and gold if you consider the fact that they are decimated, and I do mean decimated by injuries. I mean, all across the offensive line, linebackers, running backs, offensive weaponry. I mean, they are very, very limited going into this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. But Who That Nation, nobody is going to sing a swan song for the New Orleans Saints. Nobody is going to play the violin for the New Orleans Saints. Nobody is going to feel sorry for the New Orleans Saints. If the New Orleans Saints want to be a contender, if the New Orleans Saints want to win and be able to find themselves in a postseason later on in the year, these are the type of games that you have to win, because you have to be able to overcome adversity. Over the last couple of weeks, the New Orleans Saints have played in a few games where they lost, but they look like the better team. It is time for the New Orleans Saints to get back to some of the things that have made them successful over the first 2 weeks. There's a lot of questions that are being asked about the New Orleans Saints. What team is the New Orleans Saints? Are they the team that we see in the first 2 weeks of the season where they put up 47 on the Carolina Panthers, dropped 44 on them boys? But that was the team everybody thought they were. And then you scored 12 points against the Eagles and 24 points against the damn Falcons. But Kansas City, they're dealing with injuries in their own right. They lose Rashee Rice. They don't have Isaiah Pacheco, a really talented halfback. You don't have Hollywood Brown. They've had some injuries, especially to the offensive side of football. 2 guys that Patrick Mahomes has relied on. But he still has Travis Kelce, despite Travis Kelce hasn't been looking like himself all season. Some people are looking at it like he's getting up there in age. He's 35 years old. Or maybe it's the fact that Taylor Swift plays a role. I don't believe that, okay? I don't believe who you're dating. I mean, it's not like they zap the talent away from you. I just think that maybe this is one of those games, man. We know that the Saints and tight ends that can actually catch the ball has been a nightmare for this football team. And also Xavier Worthy, man, the young, talented speedster out of Texas. They also have Sky Moore, a guy who they drafted very highly a couple of years ago. He'll get an opportunity now that their offensive room is a little bit down. But this is going to be a tough game regardless. I don't care if those guys are playing or not. They have the best quarterback of this generation in Patrick Mahomes. And we've seen Patrick Mahomes do a lot with very, very little. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to be disciplined. Some of the things that got you beat over the last 2 weeks, you're not going to be able to do that. You got to be able to tackle. You got to be able to understand your assignment. You got to be able to do the necessary things, because we all know that when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, the referees, they blow the whistle, right? Even if you meant to do something, they're going to blow the whistle. All right. So you got to make sure that you're being disciplined in this game. That includes Paulson Adebo. Mr. really got a hold on him, really got his hands on you. You can't be going out there like that, because you know that they're going to be paying attention to you. And I'm starting to feel as if he's starting to get that Brandon Browner treatment. Like, he is known for being handsy, and referees are going to be paying attention to that. So the Saints are going to have to play disciplined football. They're going to have to be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes with 4. You don't want to blitz this dude. Like, you don't want to blitz him. I don't care if they don't have the best receivers available on their team right now. You do not want to blitz Patrick Mahomes. So Carl Granderson, Chase Young, Brian Brzee, these boys going to have to get home. Notice I ain't say Peyton Turner because he's hurt like he always is. That's no surprise to absolutely nobody. Make one play that's impactful and you don't see him again for another 4 to 5 weeks. That has been Peyton Turner in a Saints uniform. But all in all, you have to be able to get pressured. I mean, no pressure was really given to Kirk Cousins at all. And you don't want to have another game like that. They got to find ways to get him off his spot. He can move around in the pocket. We know that he likes to extend time. So that's why these guys in the secondary, the safeties and the cornerbacks, they're going to have to run with these wide receivers and these tight ends, because that's when the plays start to get exciting, when a play breaks down, when these guys break off their routes. So the Saints are going to have to play discipline. And I'm going to say this. If the Saints somehow come away with a victory, if they somehow knock off the Kansas City Chiefs, it will be by far the most impressive victory of Dennis Allen's career. It will be the most impressive victory of his career. I mean, he's been the Saints head coach for 3 seasons. This would be the most impressive victory that he has ever gotten in his entire career. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. Both teams are dealing with some things. I want to see how the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to affect, this defense of the Kansas City Chiefs, because they don't get talked about a lot because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, but they're the bright spot of this team. And this whole zone, running scheme that the Saints have, Steve Spagnuolo is if the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, if he is the General Bison of this whole wide zone thing, then Steve Spagnuolo got to be Sagat. You know what I'm saying? So if you play Street Fighter, you know what the hell I'm talking about. You played Sagat first before you got to Emerald Bison. They both were in Thailand. Look it up. But anyway, these guys know how to get to. They know how to get to guys like Alvin Kamara, neutralizing him. They know how to get to the quarterback. They are going to be relying on. They're going to be relying on Derek Carr to beat them. That's what they feel. They feel like if Derek Carr goes out there and he puts forth a star-studded performance, they can live with that. But they're not going to allow Alvin Kamara to beat them in this football game. Once again, Steve Spagnuolo is the Sagat of the wide zone, and you have Vic Fangio, who is the Emerald Bison. These two guys know how to neutralize that wide zone. They got athletic linebackers. Nick Bolton, he dealt with an injury, but he's a sideline guy. They got McDuffie out there, Trent McDuffie in the secondary. I look for him and Chris Olave to really go at it in this game. You know, this is going to be a game where I feel like Rashid Shaheed is going to have to step up. I think explosive plays can play a role. This has got to be one of those games. And I also feel like the New Orleans Saints may need to utilize some of these wide receivers that they have. Everybody telling me how fast Mason Tipton is. How about sending him on one of these deep routes down the field? If everybody's looking for Rashid Shaheed to do it, how about switching it up? If you got a guy who has that same type of speed, why not give him a shot? Why not utilize some guys on your offense other than Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed? What about getting your tight ends involved? The Saints are going to have to find ways, and they're going to have to be creative if they're going to win this football game. This is going to be a close game, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to get blown out. But if they don't do the necessary things early, if they don't try to neutralize Patrick Mahomes and keep him off his spot early, this could be a very, very dangerous game because you already have a very, very raucous crowd that you're going into, one of the loudest venues in all of football and all the sports in North America. So you don't want to have the Kansas City Chiefs rolling because it's going to be hard for you to be able to keep up if they do. But I'm going to go ahead and open up the comments. Thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. This is going to be an exciting game. I think that both teams are going to be ready to play. I think that you look at the New Orleans Saints, they felt like their record should be better than what it is. They feel like they let some games go. And, this is a game where you can probably, help yourself because if you're looking at the division, you want to be able to beat more NFC opponents than the Falcons. And you also want to beat teams that the Falcons didn't beat. I mean, the Falcons didn't beat the Kansas City Chiefs. If you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, that kind of helps your favor. And it also helps you for the next time you go head to head if you can possibly get the victory over the Falcons again and have, and win some of these NFC games. You can put yourself in prime position to actually make a decent playoff run, get a decent playoff seeding or even win a division. The South is wide open, but you don't want to let games like this fall. You got to find a way by hook or by crook to get out of Kansas City with a victory. I don't care if it's, Patrick Mahomes goes back to pass, he trips over the heel of his foot, and the ball just starts rumble backwards, and you end up scoring a touchdown with a second left. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if it's a safety. I don't care if it's a 63-yard field goal. Get the hell out of Arrowhead with a victory. The best way you know how. The best way you know how. You got to pull off the heist of the century in this game. Like this right here, what you're back against the wall, everything is against you. Everybody feel like you're going to lose this game. If you can win this type of football game, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of hope for the New Orleans Saints. Like I feel like if you know what type of magnitude this game is and you go out there and put forth a ish type performance, I think it pretty much tells us everything we need to know about this team and where they stand and who they are as a team. It's going to be a mixed bag for the rest of the year, and I think we pretty much know where they stand. Now, I can understand if you lose a football game and a close one, maybe a play doesn't go your way, this, that, and the third. But if you're gonna go out there and you play sloppy, or you're not making these necessary plays and you look discombobulated, I mean that is not going to help the Who Dat Nation feel optimistic about what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Let's see. We're going to go with B Jammin says, I hope the O-line is on point. That's critical. Look, I don't expect for the offensive line to be on point. I just don't. I don't. Like when you look at all this plugging and playing going on, the Saints, they lose Eric McCoy 3 plays into the game versus the Eagles. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Then they activate Shane Lemieux from the practice squad to the active roster. And as of today, he's on IR. Then you had Lucas Patrick, who was at practice. Then he ended up being questionable on the list. You got Connor McGovern, who you just got from the Jets. He is going to be your starting center. At right tackle, I don't know if it's going. Right guard, I don't know if it's going to be Nick Saldiveri, Landon Young. Like it's just a lot, man. I don't know. This is a conversation that needs to be had. I don't know what the hell is going on with the training staff. I don't know what type of regiment that they have going on, but the Saints have one of the sorriest training staffs I have ever seen in my entire life. I know some people can't go out there and say it. I'll say it. It's piss poor. For the last 2 to 3 years, we've been dealing with these injury situations, soft tissue injuries, hamstring, calf, dudes missing games left and right. How are you supposed to gain any type of momentum? How are you supposed to be able to gain any type of traction if you have some of your key guys that are on the sidelines? And I'm just wondering, man, what kind of practices are going on? Like, what are they actually doing to try to help and make sure that these players are upright? It's a laundry list of players, key players, that are on these lists every single week. It is sad, man. It is sad to watch. And it's hard for us to really criticize or say anything about the team because, damn, we don't even know what this team actually looks like in full force. Like, we don't. And so when you get excited about one guy coming back, another guy, it's like you a tag team or something. One guy tags out, another guy tags in. How are you supposed to generate any levels of success having these type of issues? It is time for them to address the training staff, figure out what the hell are they doing, or try to find somebody else that has better practices. I don't know, holler at Tom Brady or something, whoever his training team is. Talk to him about pliability or something, because you got Demario Davis, who's supposed to be playing in the game on Monday night tonight. He comes back, and now Pete Warner's not playing. And then Willie Gay is not playing. I mean, the Willie Gay injury, okay, I'll let that slide. That's football, right? He had a hand injury, probably trying to make a play. Something happened. It happens. But it just seems like this team just cannot stay healthy. They just can't stay healthy. And it is unbelievable. I don't know, man. It's like the New Orleans Saints are snake bitten. It's like they cursed or something. You can't really get excited, because as soon as you get excited about somebody's production, oh, such and such, he had 6 carries for 75 yards, man. That dude a beast. I can't wait for him to play next week. Hamstring out 2 to 3 weeks. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing? And I don't feel bad about saying this, man, because it's like the second or the third year that we're dealing with these type of situations. I don't know. I don't know what you can do at this point. Like, I don't know who do you blame for this particular situation? Is it just bad luck? I mean, is it bad routine? Like, what really is it? I have never seen a list of injuries like that to key players at one time. I just never seen it. Like, normally you'll have maybe 1 or 2 key players on there, and then there's a bunch of guys that's kind of like on your special teams or something. You look at this week after week. You look at the Saints injury list and you look at the opponent's injury list. The opponent might have 2 or 3 people on the list. The Saints, 14 to 15. So I'm just wondering, what in the world are they doing? Like, is it bad luck? Is there a black cat walking across the facility or something like that, walking around just spreading bad luck here, there, and everywhere? I don't know. But it's just frustrating to watch a team that has the potential, but they just can't get the guys on the field. Who that Jesus? Thank you very much for the 499. Says, I'm worried Kubiak is starting to look like a fraud with so much reliance on Taysom. Seems like everything needs to be perfect. What are your thoughts? Well, I think that too much emphasis is being put on certain players, which I can understand. Like, I understand that you want to put emphasis on your key players, but I think the New Orleans Saints let salary kind of play a role in the direction of who they're selecting to do what. I'm just going to say that. If a guy is good enough to play, I don't care if he is undrafted. I don't care if you just got him off the scrap heap 2 days ago. If it gives you the best chance to win, put him in a lineup. But I just feel like the New Orleans Saints, sometimes they look at certain players, they look at their skill sets, and I think that's what Clint Kubiak has been doing. He's been trying to give you a heavy dose of Taysom, a heavy dose of Alvin. I have no problem with. But at the same time, guys are starting to blanket and zero in on the guys that you're utilizing. It's no longer a surprise. But when you got Cedric Wilson out there, the guy just basically running around, blocking. That's it. This dude is talented, man. It's not like he just slaw or something like that. You throw him the ball, he'll catch it. He can make contested catches. He can actually take the top off the defense. The dude is actually talented. And then you have Mason Tipton out there, who everybody's been talking about. Oh, Mason Tipton. Oh, well-kept secret right here. Be on the lookout for Tipton. And then when he comes into the game, all you see him is running down the field on an open block for Alvin Kamara, against the Dallas Cowboys. 1 catch for 4 yards. Like, open up the playbook and utilize these guys, man. Like you see week after week, some of these offenses, they have quarterbacks distributing the ball to 6 and 7 different receivers. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints basically going to the game trying to utilize 3 people on offense. 4 if you count Taysom. Like, that's cool and all, but when guys know that all we got to do is play quarters, let's not, make sure Rashid Shaheed get behind us. We'll give Olave whatever in the flat, and we'll just be ready to tackle him. That's 3rd and 6 right there. Tackle him, 4 yards. Now it's 4th and 2. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you got to be able to open it up, man. Introduce these teams to Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson and Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson. Like, I thought them boys were going to eat. Like, if you looked at the first game of the season versus Carolina, you seen Foster Moreau making plays. You seen Juwan Johnson making plays. You seen Chris Olave. You seen Rashid Shaheed, Alvin. You seen them boys making plays. And you like, okay, man, this man in his bag. Since then, all you see is 4 guys, the usual suspects. That is not attainable success to me. If you're that good, you're going to find a way to get these other guys involved. If not, then we basically wasting our time. Because I'm sitting at home on my couch watching these boys play, and I know what they about to do. So I know you know what they're about to do, and I know for damn sure these coordinators and these coaches know what they're about to do. I just want them to change it up. They basically they shooting themselves in the foot. Might be cursed, TJ. Can't bring snakes in the Superdome and be called the we got Spencer Rattler, though. I think some people want the snake to be in the Superdome. Chantel bragging on them Cowboys, them Cowgirls. Look, man, ain't nothing wrong. Look, Cowboys got the victory last night when nobody expected them to do it, and they were shorthanded. No Michael Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence, right? And then they lost Nealon. Looked like he gonna have a serious injury, man. That was non-contact, so they went out there and got it done. So. Facts, TJ, 100. It just don't make any sense. Conditioning coach, man, what conditioning coach? 21 was a curse year too. I don't know, man. They need to have a conversation or maybe bring somebody else in or figure out what type of practices are being used. And man, I don't know, man. I would, if I'm Dennis Allen, I would understand too. Like. Well, I would be frustrated, but there was a press conference that was had a couple of days ago, and they asked about Shane Lemieux, right? Shane Lemieux comes in, goes on the injury list, and they asked Dennis Allen about it. He was like, I don't think it's a significant injury, and now he's on IR. Like, when is Dennis Allen going to learn, man? Just to say, well, we'll keep you posted. Like, why are you up here? Like, every time. Like you try to talk and say something like, I don't think it's serious, and it ends up being serious. And it makes a person on the outside looking in feel like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Or you don't really know what's happening with your own team. So to me, like I wouldn't even go down that road. I'd be like, look, we'll keep you posted. Because when you say it don't seem that serious, and then all of a sudden it becomes that serious, because it got to be that serious if he's on IR. I don't understand. Like this team is just surrounded by just bad luck, bad mojo or something, man. They need a win in a major way. I think if they win this game tonight, I think that this can help this team tremendously. I'm very concerned if the New Orleans Saints go out here and they battle with the Chiefs, and they come away with a loss. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this if the Saints go out and they just get straight, like, mollywop by the Kansas City Chiefs, which I doubt. then I feel like maybe you can actually, okay, man, we can build on something. But if they in a close game like they've been over the last couple of weeks and they don't come away with the victory, I don't know if that voice in the locker room from Dennis Allen gonna be enough this time around. There was a few times where, you know, they were able to weather the storm, kind of turn some things around. But when you start to like be in these close games like this and you don't come away with victories, and it's these dudes are battling their hearts out and they fighting and scratching and clawing, you can't get a victory. Dude's gonna start looking and trying to think, man, maybe the guy in the locker room, his voice, maybe we need a different voice up in here. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It just seems to me like they at a crossroads. Like I know the season isn't like it ain't over if they lose this football game. It's an AFC team. I feel like the majority of the teams in the South probably gonna lose to them anyway, you know. But like to me, like I feel like this is a deciding game. I feel like if they have a game similar to that, how they had over the last couple of weeks, and they lose, I'm very concerned about the direction of this football team. It can get pretty ugly. You know, because like a few years ago, it was kind of similar to that. And you had enough leaders in the locker room that kind of kept the team focused, and they were able to kind of turn some things around and do some things better. But I don't know, man. You have to start looking at it like, okay, we got a new defensive coordinator, new defensive staff, got new offensive staff, and you know we still in the same particular position. So what's the one common denominator? I know you stay in the Carolinas. Are you and your family doing all right? Yeah, my family, we're doing fine. The hurricane really affected like the North Carolina area. You know, those were the individuals that were affected by that, and my prayers go out to them. You know, we stay in Myrtle Beach, which is, you know, an area that gets hit by tropical storms and hurricanes, but for the exception of like when I first moved here back in 2018, like we really haven't had any serious storms or anything like that really affected this area in this area. But as far as like the North Carolina, like around Asheville, North Carolina, which is, I want to say Asheville is maybe like 5 hours from where I'm at right now. Yeah, they really been affected by it, man. So my prayers go out to those folks in that area, and also the people in the Florida area, man. That storm that's out there right now is supposed to be they say it was like one of the biggest storms, and as far as miles per hour, it's probably one of the most dangerous storms in history. So, and they already been affected pretty bad in that area around the Fort Myers area. So my prayers go out to them as well. I want to acknowledge the people that donated here today. OG Killer, thank you very much for $4.99. Says facts. Our Super Bowl run. Look at how we use the tight ends and the 3 of 5 wideouts, running backs. Yeah, man, you got to get back to that. And also, thank you for the $1.99. Who that Jesus? I really do appreciate that. Says I just want to let you know I never pay refs. Says Dalton. Well, look, I don't know if you pay the refs. Maybe the NFL does. Maybe their success is pending on your success. And I also heard tonight, everybody's favorite referee, Bill Vinovich, will be officiating this game. So take that for what it is. Who that nation? We not losing tonight. I hope you're right. Lewis, the Saints just don't believe in Allen or Carr. They did for 2 weeks. Then the great reality set in. And then things aren't absolutely perfect. It doesn't work with these guys. I'm going to say this. Like I said, I feel like I could be wrong, but it feels like if they're in one of these phone booth close games and they don't come away with the victory tonight, like I feel I am very concerned at how this season will turn out. Like I feel like it might go in a completely different direction. I hope that I'm wrong. But it just got those type of vibes with that nation. Like if they go out there and let's just say, for example, they just lose, like, okay, they lose by like 10 points or something like that. Okay. I don't feel like, you know, maybe you battle, maybe things just didn't go your way. Maybe you were just, you know, short-handed. But if they go out there and play as well as they did and look like the best team on the field and they lose again, man, that's some major psychological stuff right here. And I don't know if they're gonna be able to salvage that. Me personally, look, I already told y'all. I said this against the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, or was it the Falcons? I'm not sure, but I'm out on these dudes. Like, I don't feel like I want to see the Saints win. I do. I'm not praying on anybody's downfall. I'm not praying that the Saints lose. I want them to win every game, but I do not believe in Dennis Allen, and I don't believe in Derek Carr. I feel like as long as you have these two dudes on your team together collectively, I don't feel like you're going to generate continual success. I think that Saints fans that really just feel like it just automatically going to pop on and they just going to go on this magical Super Bowl run with this combination, I just think that is wishful thinking. And I hope that I'm wrong, but there's nothing that I see from Dennis Allen as a coach, and there's nothing that I see from Derek Carr as a coach. I mean, as a quarterback, excuse me. That changes my mind. And these whole debates about who Derek Carr is and people talking about, oh, you know, he did this, that, and the third. Like, you can justify his quarterback play all you want to, but I just feel like the good ones, great ones, they don't need the stars to be aligned for them to win football games consistently. Like, they are going to snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat more times than not. And I honestly don't care about what anybody says. Like, I feel like anybody that just feels like Derek Carr is a great quarterback and Dennis Allen, like, he just gonna automatically become Belichick. I feel sorry for him. Like, I take these games for what they are, and I feel like that's what Saints fans need to do. Take them for what they are. But I don't see continual success with Dennis Allen as the head coach. There's something missing, man. I don't know, man. The vibe is just it ain't what it is, man. Like, it's I don't know, man. The vibe of this football team ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't love this football team, I wasn't passionate about this football team, wanting this team to like be successful. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just something missing about this football team. The aura of this team is just trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. The aura, like, not with some players like Kamara, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Olave, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, Shaheed, yeah, but the main people, you know what I'm saying, that people pay attention to, the quarterback, the coach. That's how people look at football teams and feel like they bought something. They look at the coach, they look at the quarterback. And I was just watching a video. I want to say it was a video with Jake Hayner and Derek Carr. And you know, I was just looking at him like, bro, the aura of this football team, my goodness, man. Like, seriously, like it just, man, it's I don't like it just ain't what it used to be. I'll just leave it at that. It ain't what it used to be. They need to find it. I don't know how you find it. I don't know if somebody got a transformation chamber and Urkel can turn it to Stephon or Kale or something. I don't know, but this the vibe of this team, like, them boy lame. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like I don't know, man. They ain't the coolest dudes in the world. Like, I don't know. Like, it need the vibe. The vibe ain't what it is, man. It ain't what it used to be, bro. It ain't what it was. Good teams put people away, and we don't do that. Man, I want to say Luke Johnson had an article that came out, and he basically did research on Dennis Allen in close games. And it is unfreaking believable, like, how these dudes just wet the bed in these late moments like this under this dude. Rather it's him as the head coach or him as a defensive coordinator, and they need a defensive stop when Sean Payton was here. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable, like, how they just wet the bed with this dude. Like, I don't think Dennis Allen is going to generate continual success with the Saints. He is who he is, folks. He is who he is. Like, he is who he is. He's a really good coordinator, like borderline, like a really great coordinator, borderline elite coordinator. But as a head coach, he is not it. He ain't it. And we can adjust this team and we can add this, that, and the third, but I just feel like it's going to be the same result over and over again. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotions. One week, they're going to look like the best team in football. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be sound. They're going to give us this sense of hope like they're going to turn a corner. And then the next week, they're going to lose to a team they ain't got no business losing to, or keeping a team in a game they ain't got no business keeping in the game. That's just what it is. Tonight, I feel like, if you do the right things, you can win this football game. That's why I'm saying, like, it wouldn't surprise me if the New Orleans Saints won this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And it shouldn't surprise you because they're good enough. They have the talent to win football games. But I just feel like they got a quarterback and coach that gets in their way of success at times. But mostly this season has been a coach. I ain't going to, like, Derek Carr leaves a lot to be desired, but for the most part, it's really been the coach in this matter. I'm with you. I don't believe in Carr and Allen either. The first two wins didn't fool me, especially when Cam was on the show and they asked him about the wins. Yeah, look, I feel like that's my whole thing. We all fell for it. I'll leave you out of it. I fell for it, but I won't do it again. That's the thing. It gives you they give you these roller coaster of emotions, right? When they're high, they're high. Like it's unbelievable. Like the way that when they win games, they're so emphatic. It's like, man, they might do something, and then all of a sudden, I mean, they just look like mere shells of themselves. Sloppy football play, sloppy, bad decision making. How are you supposed to maintain any levels of success if you combine that and the fact that you can't stay healthy with key players? But like I said, it would not surprise me tonight if the New Orleans Saints win this football game. It would not, because I don't think their issue is talent. Like, I feel like with better coaching, this team would be undefeated. With better coaching, this team will look like the best team in football. They have comprised some really talented players on this team. But I just think that they have a coach that's going to continue to keep them mediocre, average at best. And people get mad. Oh, you don't want to see the Saints win. Nah, I want to see the Saints win. But I ain't about to be no idiot in the process and fool myself and not seeing what is obviously in my face. Like, I ain't got no time to be squinting and trying to make a guy look elite as a quarterback. And I damn sure ain't got no time to be looking around and squinting and trying to make a guy be a better coach than what he actually is. Like, you have to come to grips with that. Like, cheer for the team when they win, be excited about it. When we're doing these predictions, feel like they have a chance to win, feel like they're going to win. But don't make it seem like what's going on ain't painstakingly obvious and it's right in your face. It's pretty obvious. You just don't want to accept it. It's like somebody that's, if you're in a relationship, the person just ain't coming home. They supposed to come home, but instead you just turn a blind eye and, you're okay when they show up. No ask, no question. Where you was at, where you been, that's on you, Where they say everybody plays the fool sometime. I ain't being no fool. I mean, I want to see them win, but I ain't going to be no fool in the process. The Saints have no room for error. The way we play, no punts, muff, and perfect clock management in the fourth. They gotta be able to find a way to win this football game. It's plain, it's simple. It's plain, it's simple. Keenan, thank you very much for the $5. Says TJ, we win if we run the ball and score at the end of drives to limit possessions. Don't beat yourself. Pause. Limit penalties and don't turn over the ball. And Cartel, thank you very much for the $19.99. Says TJ, in your honest opinion, where do we need to make changes to be the team we all know we can be? Shout out to the Rinse Game. You heard me. Get them likes up. Who That Nation? Subscribe to the SOTS podcast. You heard me. You heard me. Look, Cartel, look, what they need to do is they need to play the way that we all know that they can play consistently. Like, if they play fundamentally sound like they have been in victories, then there shouldn't be any problem. But it comes with the coaching. Like, coaches, their job is to make sure that they make the most disciplined team imaginable. Like, they formulate this disciplined football team that doesn't get in their own way. You're not, look, I don't care how fundamentally sound and how disciplined your football team is, you're going to lose football games. It's just that simple. But you want to lose football games because maybe, it just wasn't your day, or the fact that it was just close and you just end up losing. But the thing about it is you're in these games close and you're losing consistently. And a lot of the reasons why you're in these close games because you made them closer than what they were supposed to be. Like, these teams had no business being in the game. If you didn't muff no punt against Atlanta, you ain't throwing no pick six. If you're throwing a ball into the ground, or, like you really was supposed to be throwing into the ground and not making no damn excuses about, oh, he was trying to throw the ball to the ground, miss me with that nonsense, then you can live to fight another day. And we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'll probably be 3-1. Hell, you'll probably be 4-0 if you actually made the plays that were necessary against Philadelphia. So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to this team, man, like, you need somebody that's going to help this team get out of its own way. And that's going to put them in a position to succeed. And that comes with being disciplined. A lot of sloppy football being played in New Orleans, and that's the reason why they're losing football games. It's not the fact that they're not good enough. The fact that they sloppy in these games. DC never does well against the Chiefs. We dying tonight. Man, I just when it comes to Derek Carr, I already told y'all, man. Like, I think that he's not one of the main reasons, like, why the Saints have not had this success over the last couple of weeks. And he has been playing relatively well. Like I give him that. He's played relatively well, but he hasn't played the way I feel like a quarterback needs to play with a team that is limited. Like, I feel like your quarterback needs to step up his game. Like, it doesn't matter the circumstance. It doesn't matter the situation. Like, he's going to be right here. So if everything going right, he's still going to be right here. And that's what people don't understand. Like, there's no elevation of the game when it comes to Derek Carr. Derek Carr is like always right here. If everything's going right, he's still right here. If things going bad, he's still right here. Right here. That's the reason why he's the greatest. Like, it's the greatest debate amongst us sports fans. Is he bad or is he good? Because you can justify him being a starting salvageable quarterback, and then you can also debate that he leaves a lot to be desired. But I just think that he's like right here, right here in the middle, right here in the middle. Like, I don't feel like there's any, like, I'm sorry, as a quarterback, I don't feel like there's anything special about Derek Carr. I think that he's not going to he's not going to make the plays throughout the game that makes you like stand out as an offense. He'll do it like from time to time so people can justify him being a good quarterback. But there are also going to be some games where the defense is going to give you the ball over and over again, and they ain't going to move the football. And then his saving grace would be the last 2 minutes of the game, and all of a sudden, you see what he did? You see what he did? What did he do in the rest of the game? That's my whole point. So like I said, right here in the middle. Like, it never really wavers. It never really wavers. I'm just looking for that game. I'm looking for that game against that team. Well, it just, like a team that the Saints like really just had no business beating. Like, this could be the game tonight. But I'm still looking for that football game. Like, it's the greatest debate among sports fans. Because, you can make a compelling argument on both sides. But as for me, like, dude like right in the middle, man. Right in the middle. It never wavers. It never wavers. TJ, if you could choose a head coach for the Saints, who would it be? If I could choose a coach for the Saints, but he ain't available, it would be Mike Tomlin. I don't know how things are going to turn out in San Francisco at the end of this year, but Kyle Shanahan, that would be a coach. I also like I think that what the New Orleans Saints also need, man, they need a coach that is going to instill some discipline as well as some new offensive innovation, you know. So I don't know, man. Like I honestly don't know. Like I would have to say like somebody like that. They need somebody that's a leader, somebody that's going to hold guys accountable. That's not going to be like, okay, man, I gotta talk about this player with fine tooth gloves on, but this player right here, you know, I'm gonna just talk about how he just needs to step up. Like, nah, bro. And that's the thing that bothers me, man. Like you can criticize and talk about the muff punt on Rashid Shaheed and then turn around and try to convince everybody that Derek Carr was trying to throw the ball at the ground. That kind of stuff right there, man, like just makes me like feel like even with that, like, man, we don't need that. We don't need that at this particular time. You know, the turnover, you know, by Derek, the turnover by Shaheed, like just to say, like, okay, man, he basically keeping it fair and balanced. But we all know that Derek Carr is pretty thin-skinned, and I think they understand that. And that's one of the main reasons why I feel like you ain't gonna win nothing. So, I mean, win one, lose one, up, down, hot, cold. That's what this New Orleans Saints team gonna be with these two guys collectively. They need a coach. They say you ain't never lied, TJ. They need a coach that's going to hold this dude accountable. And, you know, if he can't get with it, they're going to be brave enough to allow somebody else to step up in his place. If he's not like providing like that certain spark or that certain thing, that's what they need to me, to be quite honest. I feel like that's going to help them. They need somebody that's going to be a leader of men. That's going to be a leader that's going to hold people accountable, no matter how much your check looking like, no matter what type of plays you done made in the league. Everybody is being they're holding individuals accountable. But I want to take this moment to let you know that the State of the Saints podcast is powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 125% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. If you go to BETUS, download the app, you'll see that the Saints are a +5 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, 5-point underdogs in the game. You can bet by going to BETUS. Use the promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Keen Arthur says TJ just got the word Lucas Patrick is active tonight. Dude has been playing well, and the O-line needs all the help it can get. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have Lucas Patrick playing in the game. I was real concerned about him not playing, at left guard, but that's good to know that he's going to be in this game. He's going to try to fight and battle it out. New coach, new quarterback, back to real Saints football. Yeah, they just got to find an identity and some swag. The Saints are a swagless football team right now. Like you got some guys out there that got some swag, but they're a swagless football team. Like, because to me, I don't think that, you know, what makes you a team with some juice, a team with some swag, a team with some aura. I don't think it's just about, you know, your left tackle or your running back or something like that. Like when people look at teams having swag, they look at the head coach, they look at the quarterback, and then everything else is kind of falls in line. When I look at this team, like when it comes to the coach and quarterback, they have no swag, none at all, man. Like seriously, like it is like, man, it is. I ain't like even the 90 Saints had some swag, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of had some swag. They were losing, but this team, like it like looking at these press conferences, looking like it just, man. I mean, it's unison. You know what I'm saying? It make you sleepy. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, when we look at press conferences by Dennis Allen, and he's like, you know, he might say a curse word or something like that. Man, you heard him, man. Like it's like you be trying to find something that this guy did or has done, like to make you like feel like, okay, man, we with you, man. Give us something. Same old song and dance. We got to clean this up. You know, a lot of guys, they fought hard today. There were some plays that we made. Then there are some other plays that we have to clean up. Like same old thing. Like, but when you lose, like you basically got that rehearsed because pretty much have to say it every single week. And that's the thing where a lot of people don't understand. Like it's unfortunate we got to hear this stuff more times than not because they lose more games than they win. Let's say, what does a trade package look like for Adams? I don't know what a trade package look like for Devontae Adams, Keen Arthur. I really don't. I know the Raiders, they say they wanted a second round pick for him. And I'm pretty sure they probably want a player. So me personally, I would give them a second round pick and Paulson Adebo. And I would have Kool-Aid McKinstry, out there as a starting cornerback. I feel like, he's a talented guy. The reason why you drafted him in the first place, because you feel like he can be a starter. That's what I would give to the Raiders. Paulson Adebo, West Coast guy. Well, he's not a West Coast guy, but he went to Stanford out there on the West Coast. He's from Texas originally, but I mean, he goes back out there to the West Coast where he made a name for himself on a collegiate level. And you have Devontae Adams that can come in and give you something on offense. I mean, it's not like the New Orleans Saints don't have some talent in the secondary that can be able to compensate for the loss of Paulson Adebo. So that's what I would do, if I was the New Orleans Saints, but we'll see, man. And we'll see. Not too many teams were looking at Devontae Adams. Only the Jets and the Saints were. But I mean, that stuff kind of changes because we know that the teams are the ones that leak that type of information. And most of the time they leak that type of information to get other teams like saying, oh, we don't want to lose out on them. We don't want to lose out. So, make those other teams try to make the call just to try to give them some options before one, they decide to negotiate with the two teams that really are trying to get them. They'll try to see what they can get from somebody else. What's that boy say? I just finished Dark Sides. Add them to the list. We stale chips. That's a good way of putting it. That boy said sometimes you gotta pop out and show them people. I was like, man, sit your ass now. Yeah, man. I mean, look, we were trying to be with him, when he said, you got to pop out and show him. But, it's amazing, though. I will say this. It's amazing what certain phrases can do when you're winning and what certain phrases can do when you're losing. Like, because when the Saints were, like, hot, and he was saying they're like, okay, man, DA, pop off, man, pop off. Now it's like, man, sit your ass now somewhere. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's like a person that paints their face for a football game. Like when your team winning, like, oh man, this guy's, everybody with him. But when your team losing and they're getting spanked, you just a dude that look ridiculous on TV. Like it's kind of just one of those things, man. The worst part is that both the Bucks and Falcons are better than us. I disagree with that. I disagree wholeheartedly with that. I don't feel like the Bucks or the Falcons are better than the New Orleans Saints. Like that, the Falcons won, but they're not, like, to me, they are not a better football team than the New Orleans Saints. I ain't about to. I feel like to be this is how you need to look at this. Kirk Cousins threw for 509 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can somebody tell me how many yards and touchdowns did he throw for with the New Orleans Saints? He didn't throw 500 yards. Matter of fact, he didn't even throw a touchdown in that game. So to me, like, that's telling. That's telling to me. Like, like we can talk about what Tampa didn't have, and they had some guys down, but the Saints, they had some defensive players that was down too. No Demario Davis. Willie Gay left the game early. You was out there with Anthony Origin, DeMarco, DeMarco Jackson. Like, you were out there with him. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't accept that. Like, I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's going on with the Falcons. They beat the Saints and they beat Tampa, and to be quite honest with you, that that tells you like how sad like it's been around Atlanta. Them boys popping champagne after week 5. Like, that goes to show you like how sad things have been around Atlanta all these years. Like, y'all up in there popping champagne. Like, how many games they got left? Like you still got like 12 games left in the season, and you up there popping champagne in the locker room like y'all just won the division, like y'all just won the NFC championship game. Like that right there, that's pretty sad. Like you got the smoke and the dancing and stuff like that in the Saints locker room, but I ain't seen no champagne popping out in no week 5. Like, man, that tell you right there, man. They needed that desperately, man. They desperate. They just want to win. But I don't feel like the Saints are any worse, and I don't feel like the Falcons are any better than any of those teams. Like I think they play Tampa again. I think Tampa gonna beat them. I think they play the Saints again. I think the Saints gonna beat them. That boy says already read that. Stroll down a little bit. Says 249 people watching this, only 80 likes, bro. What are we doing? Chad, hit the like button and subscribe to the SOTS. Yeah, please hit the like button, man. Please hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Really will appreciate that. Who do you think will realistically even interview for the head coaching job? I think a lot of people will do it. I think, look, it's not like, oh man, I want to coach there. This is a good football team. Like, this team isn't bad. That's the most frustrating thing to me, is this team is not bad and they're losing football games, these close games like this. That's the frustrating thing about it. And I think that a coach will look at this and be like, man, all we need to do is do this, that, and the third. Like, the Saints are a appealing spot for a head coach. They are. You just got to make sure you get the right guy in there. Like, I just think that the Saints' fear of changing and turning a page really set this team back. Like, if you would have just went out here, Sean Payton would have left and just said, and you would have said to yourself, okay, Sean is gone. Let's try to do it again. Like, we found a Sean Payton before. Let's try to find another Sean Payton. But instead, they got nervous. They got afraid that they were going to get too far away from the things that made them successful and relevant over the last couple of years. So what did they do? They hired in-house. They hired in-house out of the fear that they would get away from the Sean Paytonisms. And you have to realize that you may have the Sean Paytonisms, but you don't have Sean Payton. Like, you can try to replicate what you have done, but you don't have the mastermind behind it. Matter of fact, you don't have the quarterback behind it. So they kind of set themselves back out of fear. I feel like the Saints were afraid to turn the page. They were afraid to try something different. They felt like they were closer than what they actually were. To me, that was arrogant, because you're not taking into account the two most important people in the history of this franchise no longer being around your team. That is Sean Payton and that is Drew Brees. And that is what Saints fans have to come to grips with. That's what they have to come to grips with. This team set itself back because they didn't want to move forward. They didn't want to try to do something different. If you would have found someone that had this whole wide zone concept, like Clint Kubiak, and made him your head coach, and you would have kept Dennis Allen as your defensive coordinator, I feel like the New Orleans Saints would have been well off. I think the Saints probably would have won the division at least one out of these last 3 seasons. I think that maybe one went to the playoffs, maybe 2 out of the 3 seasons. I just think that the voice inside of the locker room is not the right voice to lead these guys into the next generation of Saints football. Like Sean Payton was a tyrant. Sean Payton was, he was meticulous. Like, the little things he paid attention to, like cleats and wind resistance and making sure guys wearing the right coats and making sure they wearing the right, stuff during wintertime. Like, this dude was meticulous about this stuff. The biggest, most significant things he cared about, and the most insignificant things he cared about. And that's what made this team one of the most successful football teams throughout his tenure. But you can't replicate that with a guy who doesn't have the same type of energy, swag, or confidence in their abilities. Well, maybe he does have confidence in his ability. He's a head coach, but he doesn't possess the same type of aura as a Sean Payton. And it's like a guy who is trying to be something that he is not. And it is sad to watch. And somebody will say, if they come back and win this Kansas City game, what you said about Dennis Allen, I'll be saying the same thing about him next week or 2 weeks later. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. To me, it's forever going to be up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. That's the code for Street Fighter 2, by the way. That's the brand for the night. Okay, we're going to keep this on brand. We've been using a lot of Street Fighter analogies, so let's just keep it going. All I'm saying is this dude is a mixed bag. He's a mixed bag. And, I don't know how you're going to continue to find success with a mixed bag. I just don't know. And I feel like we just basically just playing ourselves. I ain't playing myself. I like this football team. I'm going to say this again. I feel like this team is good enough to win a division. I feel like this team is good enough to be in the playoffs. I feel like this team is good enough to win a playoff game. But doesn't matter if you have a coach that not going to coach the hell out of them and get the best out of these players. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they like them. But likability has nothing to do with the issues that's going on with the Saints. Have I earned my rent back yet? I thirst for power. Thank you very much for the $2. Josh says, what does a trade package look like for Adams? I think I already read that. And so that says, well, he just said nothing and gave me $1.99. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. People look at the injury report and see 15 names and cry. I look and see who actually out, and out of those names, how many are actually truly impactful? We ain't the same. Well, I put it like this. They're better than what they already have. Like P. Warner is a guy that they need. He's a really good linebacker. Like, he's talented. He's always like, he racks up the tackles. He's a smart, instinctive player. But looking at some of these guys on the offensive line, Eric McCoy, impactful player. Cesar Ruiz, based on what we have on the offensive line, the Saints have on the offensive line, better than most. Peyton Turner, look, I mean, if a tree falls in the woods, for God's sake, I'll give you that one. Like, man, Peyton Turner is a straight 100% bust, man. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like that. That's right. That right there symbolizes the New Orleans Saints. This guy, every time he makes a play, every time like you sing his praises, like, man, what a good play by Peyton Turner, man. You seen what Peyton Turner will not play tonight. He's out. That is the story of Peyton Turner's career. Guy is a straight bust, can't stay healthy. Can't even, makes plays when he's out there, but bro, you ain't out there enough. But that's the New Orleans Saints in a nutshell, right there. Every time you feel like, okay, man, something is happening here, all of a sudden we having another conversation about what his team is and who they are as a team. I just need some consistency. Or you can this be consistently bad or consistently good. At least we know where you are. But when you show flashes of both, it's like, what can you do? And then, you got Saint fans that get mad at people like me because I ain't holding my lucky rabbit's foot and my full-leaf clover in my hand and walk into every game and approach every game with the type of hope that they have. Like, man, I only go by what I see. And what I see is a mixed bag and a team that has no business losing some of these games that they've been losing. Sean doesn't allow much room for mistakes. Dennis tells the mistakes to keep doing what they're doing. I say get Aaron Glenn as head coach. I say hell no. Aaron Glenn is not the answer. He is not. Like, Aaron Glenn barely can coach the defense out there in Detroit right now. Like, have y'all seen him coach defense? Like, nah. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Wasn't a fan. Matter of fact, I wasn't even a fan of him as a coach on the defense at all. Like, those guys were not getting their hands on the football. Their head was always turned. They was always getting beat on explosives. Like, at least I know Marcus Robinson been doing a really good job. Like, those guys, at least we know that they have really good positioning. You know, Paulson Adebo a little bit too handsy, but he ain't never like, you know, to a point where if he turns his head around, he ain't coming down with the football. Nah, I'm good on Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was not like Aaron Glenn as a person, as a, you know, as a teacher. People like speak of him in high regard. But I feel like if Aaron Glenn is your head coach, you ain't winning nothing with that either. You know, you said Brian Flores or something like that, then I'd be like, okay, man, I can rock with that. But Aaron Glenn, nah. What has Aaron Glenn done? What has Aaron Glenn done as a coach that warrants him to have a head coaching job? Like, Detroit defense under his watch has been terrible. But we haven't paid attention to it because their offense has been so explosive. Like, they still getting, like, they nothing but explosive plays after explosive plays. You know, like, nah, I'm good on that. Not a fan. Not as a head coach, not a fan. As a person, great dude. TJ, is it safe to say we are now rivals with the Broncos too? Nah, I wouldn't say that. I want to say rivals with the Broncos. We don't play them enough. We play them every 4 years. Get TC Taylor. Shouts out to TC Taylor, man. TC got them Jackson State Tigers looking like something, man. Jackson State looking like they depart this year, man. TC Taylor. Now that was a really good succession plan. That's the best thing Deion Sanders could have done for Jackson State, right? I mean, you know, basically co-signed for TC Taylor to be the head coach because, number one, he loves the university because he came from the university, and you can tell, man, it means something to him to be the head coach, and those kids love him. So shouts out to TC Taylor. Ain't got no problem with him at all. Our fastest safety better be overworthy. Well, I think they're gonna kind of play far back and play some quarters coverage with him too. I saw Davenport more than Peyton Turner. That's sad. Adebo gets a lot of hate, but he's solid to me. Yeah, he's a solid player. Like, look, I don't think Paulson Adebo is trash. I don't think he's bad. I think that sometimes he's out of position, but man, he's feast or famine. It's crazy. It's rather he gonna make a really good play, or he's gonna, like, any way it goes, he's gonna stand out. He gonna make a huge mistake, or he gonna make a hell of a play. That's him, feast or famine. But he's a solid cornerback. He's a solid cornerback. I just think that when we look at cornerback play, we want elite on all sides. We want, like, man, they throw that football, nobody touch it. Like, it's just not reality, man. That's the reason why some of these shutdown corners are so special, man, because they're few and far in between. That's the reason why people celebrate cornerbacks like Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed and Marshawn Lattimore and Sauce Gardner and Jalen Ramsey. That's the reason why they do that, man, because when you can neutralize a field like that, you know, it's something special. Patrick Surtain, that's something special. You know, but everybody ain't doing it. And I just think that sometimes when we look at these players, we just think that if our corners as a collective group don't look like that, then they trash. But, like, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Some of those elite ones win more than they lose. And then you got the solid ones that's going to probably look bad pretty, you know, in a game, and then they'll bounce right back and, you know, look incredible the next. I mean, that's just him. Derek Carr doesn't know who his number one receiver is. He missed a one-on-one with Olave on the goal line. He went to Shaheed. Burrow always go to Chase. Well, I don't have an issue with that. Like, I was at the Coastal Carolina game this past weekend covering the game. Shouts out to the Giants, man. Got the victory over Old Dominion. And there's a quarterback. His name is Ethan Vaskell, man. Ethan Vaskell, he's not the best quarterback that you ever see. You know, he's not, man. He's a solid guy. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that Taysom Hill. Like, he's a physical runner when he runs. And, you know, he has like a limited arm strength. But one thing he did in the game was he trusted his wide receivers. He put the ball up on countless occasions. and he allowed his wide receivers to make plays. And the young Jamison Tucker, the young Trey Taylor, like these dudes were making plays, man, out there left and right, because he just put the ball up there and allowed these dudes to make plays. And sometimes you have to do that. But I feel like at times Derek Carr cares about self-preservation. I think he cares a lot about his stat line, his completion percentage, and he doesn't want to, like, you got to have a little bit of gunslinging in you. Like he's too careful to me at times when it comes to the quarterback play. Like, you have an opportunity to aggressively like push the ball down the field, but instead, like, you'll just check it down because, oh, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this ball. It might turn. Like, trust your dudes. Like, trust them. Like, Chris Olave has shown you at times, like, when you throw the ball up there, he doesn't make a liar out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he makes a play. So I don't know, man. I just think that sometimes dude care more about his completion percentage than actually like pushing the ball down the field. Well, he had 70% completion percentage in this game. Like, did they win? Like, sometimes you need that little bit of that gunslinger, man. That's what get these wide receivers excited. You know, like, man, he threw the ball, man. Like, hey, he trusts me on that one. That will get these guys excited. But when you like looking at one particular dude going to one particular read, like, I don't, man. I don't see. Like I said, right here in the middle. That's where he at. That's where he resides at. Right there in the middle. That's where he resides at. Who that nation? Right there in the middle. Man, don't disrespect the Debo with no comparisons to Browner. Come on, man. Dude, way better technique. Why? No, when I said this at the beginning of the show, King Arthur, I don't know if you heard this or not. I said he has to be careful that he doesn't receive that brand of Browner treatment, meaning that he has a reputation for being handsy, and officiators know that. The refs realize that, and they start calling everything on him. Like, we know that. We know that the NFL sometimes when it comes to these refs are keen on reputation. So just want him to kind of be careful and make sure that he doesn't fall into that trap. I don't like the Saints uniform tonight. The black helmets can be done a lot better. I don't like the fact because I can't remember them actually winning in them uniforms. Like, have they ever won a game in that black helmet? Somebody help me out. Like, have they ever won a game in that black helmet? I'm just thinking. I remember that game against Tampa with Mark Ingram stepped out of bounds. I remember that game in London against the Minnesota Vikings that they lost. Like, have they ever won a game in that black uniform? Somebody look that up for me. Have they ever won a game in those black helmets? Now, the other color rush, when they had the white and they had the gold helmets, like, yeah, I don't think they lost many games in those. I don't think they lost too many. I don't like already read that says TJ, what receivers do you feel we should target in the draft to add to our 1-2 punch in Olave and Shaheed? I think the Saints need a big physical wide receiver. I think they need somebody that's gonna win the 50-50 ball thing. Like, I just feel like they need that big physical. They need that big physical wide receiver. That's who I feel like they need. I mean, they got some guys coming, into the draft, but I think the Saints need a running back. I think they need a running back, man. You might want to take a look at homeboy out of Boise State. I think they need to take a look at Ollie Gordon, out there at Oklahoma State. I think they need another running back. I really do. I think they need another running back to add to this room because I have a lot of belief in Kendre Miller. I think that Kendre Miller, is talented, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in that Kendre Miller basket there. I just wouldn't. I don't think that, I think they need someone else. I think they need somebody else to be a little bit of the change of pace type running back. I'm actually trying to look at some of these players at these positions. All right, so when you look at the running back position, Ginty, the running back out of Boise State, dude that losing his freaking mind, do have 1,031 yards and 16 touchdowns. I want to say they played maybe 5 or 6 games. Then I mentioned Ollie Gordon, the second. Like, I think that he would be a really good running back for the Saints. He's 6'2", 225 pounds. You got Judkins out there at Ohio State. I think that they need something like that. But as far as wide receiver, look, you probably ain't going to stink enough to get Travis Hunter, So I would say nah, but you'll probably need McMillan. That would probably be a good fit, the wide receiver out of Arizona. I'm trying to look at this other list. Yeah, I mean, you need like a big physical, receiver to complement these guys. These guys are pretty athletic, Olave and Shaheed, but I just think that you need somebody, a big body receiver, somebody that's, going to be able to go up and catch it, maybe line them up in the slot. They cut the big physical wide receivers. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand why. Number 2 out of Boise State, that dude who stands straight up. Yeah, he a dog for real. Yeah, man. Genty, that boy is a beast. 1,031 yards, man. 1,000. This man got 1,031 yards, and I want to say, man. I mean, let me see. What Boise? Let me see how many games Boise State done played. I'm trying to check right now. Boise State played 5 games. This man got 1,031 yards in 5 games. Let's read this dude's stat line against these games that he done played so far. This man had 20 in the first game against Georgia Southern. He had 20 carries for 267 yards. The next game against Oregon, he had 25 carries for 192 yards. Third game, he had 11 carries for 127 yards. The game against Washington State a couple weeks ago, 26 carries for 259 yards. And then the last game against Utah State, he had 13 carries for 186. That's insane. That is insane, man. Like, man, if it wasn't for Travis Hunter, I think dude probably would be. I think in some cases he is the Heisman front runner. But man, I think he might fit that scheme that the Saints have too. I think and Miller have hard time knowing or learning assignments. That's just me though. Last season players weren't studying iPads with max effort. I think them two in that pot. Yeah, it probably is. Probably is. Guys not studying, but you also have to ask yourself, no cap, why do they feel like they don't have to? And also that goes to scouting, right? Because the scout's job is to make sure that you're getting guys with certain disciplines that they need in order to help your team be successful. So I ain't about to blame that on him. If he's that type of player, he's that type of player. It's up to you to realize the type of player that you drafting, right or wrong. So, I mean, you streaming the game? No, I'm not going to stream the game. I'm not going to stream the game. It says tall and big. It says Derek. I don't know, man. Depends on how I feel. I might stream the second half of the game. Depends on how I feel. But I got a lot going on. Of course, I'm gonna do the halftime report, and also we do Bleacher Report when it's all said and done. Let me make sure I pull this up for you all. Go ahead and put that inside of the chat here. I don't know why it's keep on buffering like that. I know that the link should already be up. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put this link for the post game on Bleacher Report immediately following the game. I'm going to put that link in there so everybody can get that. So you can click on that and it'll bring you to the page. And also I'll try to put it in the description of this video. Saints going to pass him up for an old lineman. Well, I wouldn't be mad at that if that's the case. Because you can find another running back later in the rounds, but I think that, those guys are going to be some game changers. And I don't think this is like a deep draft for offensive lineman, but you can always find a big man somewhere, right? Do you enjoy doing Bleacher Report? Oh, absolutely, man. Man, Bleacher Report has opened up a lane for me, man. I never thought imaginable, man. I'm grateful, man. Shouts out to Tom Warner. Bleacher Report. Shouts out to Justin Ross. Man, giving me the opportunity, man. I'm sometimes it's just surreal, being able to go to Bleacher Report and just watching, watching videos that you put up, man. That's just a dream come true, especially from the humble beginnings, I come from, man. So yeah, I love doing it. I love doing Bleacher Report. Let's see, Nick, Lucas, and Young in the interior today. Let's see. I've seen plenty of games where the Saints go against a team with O-line issues, and I think we wreak havoc and get stonewalled. No excuses today. Probably resting for Bucks. Yeah, Nick, Lucas, and Young. Yeah, man, you got to be able to. I don't care, man. I don't care who you got. And I don't care if they got the Great Wall of Dallas. You got to find ways to get pressure on these quarterbacks, man. But like I said, you're gonna have to be able to rush forward, man. You better not blitz this dude. You blitz this dude, he's gonna make you pay. And so they better be smart about this. TJ, the Saints have the best trade. We send DA and DC to Pittsburgh, and they trade the Saints Mike Tomlin, greatest trade ever. Yeah, for the Saints. I don't know about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They'll probably set them back a couple of years. Be ready for them Bucks Sunday. I think the Saints will be ready for the Bucks. Do you get tired of talking? You do a lot of it. No, I really don't, because when I'm not doing this, I don't talk very much. So I don't know if you meant that for me or anybody else, but no, I don't get tired because I don't talk that much. Like you would think I do, but I don't. Now my wife would probably say something different, but but I don't really talk that much, man. When I'm not on the microphone, like I don't really talk that much. So I do all my talking to y'all. But thank you so much for checking out the pregame show for the State of Saints podcast, Saints versus the Kansas City Chiefs. My prediction for the game, I'm sorry, Who Dat Nation, but I think the Chiefs are going to win this football game tonight. I think that the Saints are probably going to be competitive in this game, but I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs playing at home Monday night, even though they're behind the 8-ball, I trust the quarterback. I trust their quarterback a little bit more than I trust the Saints quarterback in situations like this. And also the experience that the Chiefs have with Derek Carr, this is, it's not like Derek Carr is going up against a team that's not familiar with him. Majority of his career, he played against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they understand his tendencies. They understand the things that he does. So maybe this could be the game that he overcomes it. Of course, like I said, I hope that I'm wrong, but I got to roll with the two-time back-to-back Super Bowl champs in this matchup. But I really do appreciate your time. Much love to you. We'll be back for the post-game show after we do the post-game on Bleacher Report. I put the link inside of the comments, so make sure that you check that out immediately following the game. Also, you can download the Bleacher Report app. And they'll give you an option to select the New Orleans Saints, as your favorite team. You select that, and you'll see all the Saints content. All right, you'll see all the Saints content, including my post-game show. So make sure you download the Bleacher Report app. For those that don't want to join Bleacher Report, you can hit that link around 11:15 Eastern, which is like 10:15 Central. So if you don't want to download it, you just click on that link. It'll bring you directly to the live stream. Enjoy the game. Hopefully we have some positive things to talk about. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shouts out to everybody that's here. Shouts out to all those that may have checked this out a little bit later. Shouts out to the After Show boys.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them After Show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them After Show boys. They be tweet and be post. They be tweet and be post. They be tweet. Yeah, them After Show boys, they be tweet and be post, they be tweet and be post, they be tweet. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shouts out to all after show boys, after show girls out there. Till next time, all I gotta say is, who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.